New Breed coming through with another live stream, and we are with Bishop Cephas. Pardon me. We're talking about the spiritual advisor of Madam VP of Liberia, and I just want to interview this brother here so he can really break down his job and what he does and what he wants for Liberia and what the goal at hand is. All right. No further ado. Let me ask you, Bishop, in this walk, in this journey, how did you get to where you are now, having such a pivotal role in leadership of Liberia?
Well, before I answer that, I'd like to say shalom to all of you out there. I'm Bishop Cephas Reeves, the spiritual advisor to the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. We all know that, for most of you would know, that Liberia is in West Africa, and Liberia was founded by free slaves 1816. And somewhere in 1847, Liberia gained independence. Liberia was one of the first African countries to gain independence in 1847. And the first president of Liberia was African American, Joseph Jenkins Roberts. He came out of Richmond, Virginia. And for the first 16, 17, 18th presidents, they were all African Americans. It's important that we give you this background so you understand why it's important for this interview and how we want all of you who are Africans, African Americans, wherever you are, as long as you are of a Negro descent, how important it is to understand where you come from, to understand what God has placed in the land of Africa, especially Liberia, and how important it is for us to realize that you don't choose where to be born. You were born in Africa, and something brought you over here. Something took you into other parts of the world. But guess what? We're waking up, and we want to come back to the place where we were born and the purpose for which we were born, so that we can take advantage of what God has blessed us with. Coming back to talk about Liberia, I forgot to say that I'm married. My wife is Lanita Reeves, and Pastor Lanita Reeves, and we have 4 children. Now, coming back to Liberia, what do I want, to see Liberia get to? The Vice President of the Republic of Liberia is one of those people that would like to see African Americans come back to Liberia, come back to Africa. And I want all of you to understand that Liberia, or Africa as a matter of fact, has been divided for centuries. Because of how rich Africa is, Europe, America, and Asia will not allow Africa to unite. People can argue about that. I don't care. I'm just explaining something to you because I want you to understand the importance of where we're going. They don't want Africa to unite. Why? Because Africa is the largest continent. Africa is as large as you can put Europe, Asia, and America, all of that in one, and still you have more land space in Africa. And not only that, Africa we talk about all of the diamonds and gold around the world. So all of these countries get their raw materials from Africa. And so it stands to reason why they would not want Africa to unite. It stands to reason why those of us in the diaspora, they would not want you to come back to Africa. If Liberia was founded by free slaves, Everything about Liberia is like a replica of America. You look at a flag, right? Red, white, and blue. You look at the Constitution. You look at the the seat of government. We have its three branches of government. Everything was set up as it was set up in America, right?
Right.
And so if they fought and brought Liberia to where she is today, why is it that African Americans and Africans are not enjoying Liberia today? Liberia is one of the richest countries in the world, but yet it has the poorest group of people, uneducated group of people in Liberia. And so it is my desire to see African Americans in the diaspora, Liberians in the diaspora, Africans in the diaspora come back to Liberia, come back to Africa, and take what God has given to us, change our mindset. Because I know that some of the African Americans living here in time past would say, well, Africans don't like us. They don't want us to, it's not true. It's a lie. Because the white folks, and I don't apologize for that, have said they will not allow us to unite. So by the time we start fighting divide and rule type of thing, by the time we start fighting each other, they tell you that, oh well, y'all responsible for fighting and killing each other. They don't take any responsibility, but they're the one training us. They're the one giving us American education. They're the one giving us everything. They teach us what they want us to know. So we take that and fight against each other.
Exactly.
But it's time for us to wake up, to go back to the motherland, to go back to our roots, to go back to what God has given us. It took me 10 years to study the geology of Liberia. And I realized that Liberia have a lot of gold, they have a lot of diamonds, they have a lot of oil. And of course, the same people who went and did the study for oil in Liberia, they said, well, the oil that you have in Liberia is not for a commercial purpose. Okay, fine. So we can even start using the private one and do what we need to do with it before we can get to the commercial quantity. But they tell me it's not a commercial quantity. But yet they're still there. Yet they're still doing what they're doing. There are companies that have gone, that have, they have concessions in Liberia in the area of gold, diamonds, concession in the area of iron ore, rubber, timber, bauxite. All of these precious minerals we have. Tantalum, what you use in the military, what you use to do cell phones, and we have all of those minerals in Liberia. Somewhere in Liberia called Maryland. Just imagine, we've named all of our places in Liberia after America. We got a county called Maryland. We got places there, Monrovia, after James Monroe. You got President Arthur Barkley. Arthur Barkley was one of the African American presidents. There are places that are named after him. We have Virginia, places named after the state of Virginia. We have all of that, right? So in the county of Maryland, you have tantalum. The Israelis are there mining it and taking it through Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. The Chinese are there mining it. What happened to our people?
Exactly.
Where are we?
And Bishop, let me ask you this. And we discussed this earlier, what was the one thing that the freed slaves who came back to Liberia to establish it, what is the one thing they did to secure Liberia, to keep it independent?
Well, if you go back and look at the Liberian Constitution, just go online. Liberian Constitution. It's online, and you check it. They put in the said, anybody that is of a Negro descent can become a citizen of Liberia. If you are of a Caucasian descent, you cannot be citizen of Liberia. And that, right now in Africa, we believe that's key, because You have a lot of Lebanese, Indians, Chinese. They're the ones that have the economy of Liberia, but they cannot become citizens. So, and they've been trying for us to change that, but we're not going to change that because we want our people to come back home and take what's rightfully theirs. Anybody of a Negro descent can become a citizen of Liberia. And for me, I'm going to push until I see our brothers come back home, our sisters come back home.
Absolutely.
And take what is rightfully theirs.
And ladies and gentlemen, for the record, Bishop Cephas Reeves is live with me sitting right here in Atlanta. So as a show of good faith, you know, leadership are taking the necessary steps to ensure you, the people, that this is no game. This is time. We have a global responsibility. It was our ancestors who established Liberia as a free nation, and it will be our people concurrently be the ones to reestablish it as what I would like to call the capital of Africa. That's how I'm going to look at it, because of how resourceful it is and how rich the soil is and how it's rich in minerals. That is real wealth, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of you all know the tribal community have already granted us a vast amount of land. And it's time that we actually take advantage and utilize those resources, because, you know, no disrespect to other nations or demographic or races, but nobody is ordained to do what we're ordained to do. It's just up to us to step up to the plate and actually get it done. Now, Bishop, I want to ask you, because you spent quite some time in your journey traveling to and fro. And not only that, you know, you have a very prestigious role in Liberia. What have you noticed just living within the States for a number of years, as well as being born in Liberia, and you've lived in Ghana? What do you think the mental blockage is that's actually stopping our people from unifying?
Well, I believe divide and rule. They come and teach us and tell us that it is your fault that Africa is where it is. So we fight each other. And for as long as we continue to fight each other, what belongs to us, we cannot come into it. Some of the white folks, let me tell you what they do. They come to Africa, they have concessions, okay? They will come in on a flight and go straight into the bush. They're not going to go into the city now. They go into the bush, go and take all of that gold and diamonds, come right back to the airport and come back to America. And then they're going to tell all the black folks, look, hey, y'all don't want to go over there. Those people are killing each other. They're fighting. Y'all don't want to go there. And so they put fear in us, and we sit here, man, I ain't trying to go over there, man. Them people are killing each other. But yeah, you got a Caucasian people going there, take their gold and diamond, come sit here. They don't have no job. They're just here using their money, spending it here, and going there and coming. That's what they're doing. So as long as they can keep us divided, we will not come into it. And let me tell you something. What can change that in Liberia? We must come together. We must build a private sector. Because if we start building gated communities, we start putting schools in different communities, we start building them together, the government of Liberia will be forced to speak to us. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Any government will be forced, because it's all about economic power. So if you come to Africa and we give you land and you're able to develop your land and build infrastructures on it, guess what? The government will have to talk to you. And once the government start talking to us, we can tell the government, look, this is what we want. So other governments, European, American, or Asian government will not tell our government what to do, because the people are empowered to do what they need to do. Let me tell you how important Liberia is. Go and Google what I'm telling you. Liberia headed the UN General Council for 2 decades. That is history. I want you to go. And it was headed by a woman, a female. Her name was Angie Brooks Randolph. Angie Brooks Randolph. Go and check it out. And Liberia was responsible, one of the countries responsible for Israel becoming a nation today. When Angie Brooke Randolph was the head of the UN General Council, they were voting for Israel to become a nation, and the vote was tied. And it was Angie Brooks Randolph who broke the tie. In appreciation for what Angie Brooks Randolph, or what Liberia did for Israel, Israel built our executive mansion, what you call the White House in America, executive mansion in Liberia. Israel built it.
Right.
Okay,
Wow.
in appreciation, yes. So Liberia has been on the map. Liberia has been one of the founding members of the Organization of African Unity. Liberia has been on the map doing a lot of great things. When you talk about the yellow fever vaccines that people talk about today, it was discovered in Liberia.
Right.
Hepatitis B vaccine, it was discovered in Liberia. So,
Wow.
so yes, Liberia has contributed to what is going on in the world today. But until we can go back to Liberia and take charge of what God has given us,
Right.
I just want to make that appeal that
Right.
we need to. I want all of you to just stop reading on Liberia. Just visit. Just
Exactly.
pay a visit. Just go and see. Let's check it out. Let's see what Liberia is all about.
And that's exactly what we're going to be establishing through the UNY. We're going to be taking some tours there, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know where to find to stay updated is y'allwillgather.us / brotherhood or sisterhood. If you're interested, we want willing participants because pretty soon we're going to be bringing 50 people over, and you're going to get what we aim to do is dual citizenship, and that's very important. You hear this byword called African American. Well, you should have dual citizenship. You should have your African access as well as an American.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that that's happening. Because right now, if you're looking at the current climate of societies, particularly within the states, it is important. I mean, it is very pivotal that we establish ourselves in our homeland.
That's right.
I mean, it is very important because I know it looks like America's running like everything is functioning properly and everything. The sky's still lit up right now. But the underworld of America is really starting to show its form, its real form, and we got to be prepared for that. It's our responsibility.
Yeah.
So, and I believe that this is a powerful work. And Bishop Reeves, I thank you so much for even joining me today. And I did want you to talk a little bit about how you became the spiritual advisor for Madam Vice President. Because I do know that you have a number of churches and you've lived. Actually, this brother had a 301 phone number, and y'all know I'm from the Maryland, PG, area.
I still have that number.
He still got that number, so
yeah, that's what I still use up to today.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
They are during the war in Liberia, 1990 war. A lot of us had to run out and leave the country. And so, by God's grace, I ended up in Ghana, the refugee camp in Ghana. I went to Ghana as a refugee. And because of my skill in playing music, I became a part of Action Chapel International. The founder is Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. And I've been a member of that church for 32 years now. And and then God also gave me an African American family, Reverend Ray Johnson and Joycelyn Johnson. When I went to Ghana, they were the African American couple that helped me to go back to Bible school and got my education. And I started working at developing Bible training schools as well as working with churches. And by the grace of God, while I was working in Ghana, I found my wife in Ghana. My wife is from South Carolina. She came from Columbia, South Carolina, and she went to Ghana as a missionary, and that's how we met. And a couple of years later, I moved to the United States. And what was I doing? Establishing Bible schools, working with churches, establishing churches. That's what I've been doing all these years. And then somewhere around 2018, the Archbishop asked me to go back to Liberia to start a a church in Liberia. And that was the same time the government of Liberia had just won the elections. And so the vice president of Liberia is his spiritual daughter, and he asked me to help her and pray with her. And because of that, she asked me to serve. And it's been exciting serving her. And we decided that we're going to use that opportunity to open doors for a lot of our African American brothers, so that Liberia can be rebuilt. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bishop. I appreciate your time, and it's just one more thing I want to ask, and then we'll close out.
Go ahead.
The Islamic community and the Christian community apparently have coming together an initiative to clean up Liberia. Do you care to the question I have is just a simple question here. Has this ever happened before? Has that ever happened? Like, has that ever taken place before?
No, not really. But I mean, this is an initiative that you guys started, and they're having meetings now as we speak, because one good thing that's gonna happen, I'm looking forward to, is that so many African Americans in the diaspora that's going back to Liberia, they are taking things back to Liberia. They want to do initiative to clean Liberia. They want to carry stuff back to develop Liberia. They want to have access to the country, and so that's what's going on now. They're having meetings, and the Muslim community, the Christian community are talking, because we all have a common goal to see Liberia clean. And that's being spearheaded by you guys, the African American that's coming back to Liberia. And I'm very excited about that. And I want to encourage as many people that I can join in the effort and come on board and help clean Liberia, help develop Liberia, because that's where the native tone is from. That's where you are from. That's where you were born. I know that no one can choose where they want to be born. We were all born in Africa, and by some way we were brought here, but we're realizing now that we're going back to the motherland so we can take hold of what belongs to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Bishop. Thank you for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all know what to do. Run the likes up, share the video everywhere. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is history in the making, and things are escalating rather quick on our end. Anytime you see the Islamic community and the leaders thereof, and as well as the Christian community, come together under the banner of the United Nation of Israel, you know that there's a serious meeting of the minds. This is a serious push towards unity, understanding culture, and actually building up our homeland. So, hey, participate in your nation. Listen, I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all stay blessed. Thank you, Bishop. All right.
Thank you. Peace.